Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you everyone, and if this is your first time that you're joining the Fox Analysis channel, we say as usual, karibu sana. Rigathi Gachagua is becoming very critical and an important pillar of the united opposition. Because as you can see on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, Rigathi Gachagua at one time came out and called on his fellow opposition leaders and told them point blank that they should not sleep on a bed of roses and go out to search for votes or to drum up support for the united opposition ahead of 2027 general election. Today, Dr. Fred Matiang'i was in Migori County, traversing the areas within Migori, drumming up support for the united opposition. What does this mean? It means that Rigathi Gachagua is a focal point and is someone who can not be underrated or disregarded as far as matters of opposition are discussed. And therefore, it means that Rigathi Gachagua is the driving force or the driving shaft as far as the united opposition is concerned. And therefore, this makes Rigathi Gachagua becomes one of the vital and important leaders of the opposition. Rigathi Gachagua will never miss out in the negotiation table or in the discussions as to who becomes the flag bearer or the presidential candidate for the united opposition. And this also means that Rigathi Gachagua has been working extra hard as far as selling the opposition is concerned and as far as drumming support for the united opposition ahead of 2027 general election. And this gives Rigathi Gachagua an upper hand, and when it comes to the time of negotiating who will become the flag bearer or the presidential candidate, Rigathi Gachagua must be given a priority and a consideration to weigh in majorly in deciding who becomes the flag bearer. And generally or ideally speaking, these discussions, they will be majorly based on Rigathi Gachagua, because from the Mount Kenya region backyard, Rigathi Gachagua commands a following. And if it is true that Rigathi Gachagua has won the heart of the people of Mount Kenya, and roughly the voters or the votes that are expected to come from Mount Kenya are close to 8 million votes. And therefore, this is also one of the things that gives Rigathi Gachagua an upper hand. And this is why you see Gachagua always talks about negotiating for a fair share for the people of the Mount Kenya region. And therefore, any candidate who is hoping to be selected or to be appointed as the flag bearer or as the candidate, he must ensure that he or she is very much closer to Rigathi Gachagua, because Gachagua is going to have a higher bargaining power as far as who becomes the presidential candidate and also deciding who will become the running mate for the united opposition. So, ladies and gentlemen, this means that the entire opposition is commanded by none other than Rigathi Gachagua, and therefore the people allied to the united opposition must take Rigathi Gachagua seriously, and anybody who will try to go against Gachagua's interests may suffer negative consequences as far as the 2027 general election is concerned. So therefore, this is a critical moment for the united opposition, and there are also some cracks that have started to come up within the united opposition, and it is likely that these opposition leaders may fall out, but the bone of content is that Rigathi Gachagua is the key player within the united opposition setup. So do you think that Gachagua will have bargaining power when it comes to declaring who becomes the flag bearer for the united opposition. And at the same time, Gachagua has come out and he has told point blank those who are pushing for the opposition to name their candidate or flag bearer that they should be given space, that they are not in a hurry, and they will have the right time to name their candidate. He has also given an example with 2002 when Mwai Kibaki was declared as the flag bearer in October, and yet the election was to take place in December. And therefore, this also brings in another discussion as to when will the united opposition avail their flag bearer or their candidate. So, ladies and gentlemen, do you think it is high time that the opposition should name their presidential candidate, or they should wait until we enter into next year? So otherwise, you can drop in your view at the comment section and also let us get to hear what you think about it. Thank you for listening and for watching this video. Please don't go without subscribing and at the same time like the video in order to support the channel.